these are just books that I've seen everywhere, and I'm a copycat, so I got them. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be going through all the books on my physical TBR. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so on my bed, I have all of the books that I have not read yet. My piles have fallen, so that's unfortunate. Okay, so I think what I want to do is go through all of my books, and then I'll talk about what they're about and why I haven't read them, or if I've read them and then DNF'd it. And then I'll also talk about whether or not I even plan to read the book. If not, then I'm probably gonna do a book unhaul and just get rid of some books, because my shelves are pretty stocked up and there's probably a few books in here that I'm just not even really gonna be interested enough to read. Okay, so just to knock out quite a few books, I'm gonna start with the capcut series. So I have the entire capcut series. I know I bought the whole series without even reading the first book or anything, but I just thought the books were so pretty and I just had to get them because they look so nice together. But I do actually really want to start this series. I just haven't gotten around to it. Honestly, I actually want to do a reading vlog of this, so let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing that. I would definitely film at least me reading the first book. I don't really know what it's about. I know it's about dragons, and then I know there's I think there's some girl that's in the story as well. I don't really know too much, but I know that this book has been everywhere on Book Talk. The whole series actually, and just Sarah J Maas in general, so definitely interested in reading her books, and specifically this series since I do have the whole thing. Speaking of Sarah J Maas, I guess we'll just start with her. I also have Throne of Glass. I know that this is also about assassins and fantasy. Don't really fully know what it's about. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fantasy reader, but I'm trying to get into it. So I did buy all these books, but I'm still not really there yet, considering the fact that I still haven't read them. But yeah, I don't know if this is the first book. I think there's something a little prequel before this book, but I could be wrong. I think I'm also gonna count the books so I can see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so far we have 6 books on the TBR. Okay, so the next book that I have is Mirror Girls. I believe, oh actually I got this at Barnes & Noble. I thought I got this at Target, but I believe this book is based on the civil rights movement, and I know that there's twin sisters in it, and then there's some curse that separated them, or no, I think the curse brought them back together. But yeah, I think it also talks about a lot of racial issues, so this is probably a book that I'm going to read soon. I don't know, it does look interesting, so yeah, I'll probably try to read this sometime soon. And that is book number 7. Next up, I have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This was a book that I did start, but I think I ended up DNFing probably about 30% through. I feel like I just was kind of bored about it, so I just didn't end up finishing it, but I definitely think that it's something that I might want to get back into. But yeah, I know that it's about this rich girl, and then I think it's this blue collar guy, and then they go through their differences. I'm sure they're gonna end up falling in love, yada yada yada, the typical romance story. So yeah, but I'm a sucker for that, so I definitely think that I will read it. It's just a slow burn, and I'm not really one to read slow burns. Next up, I have Without a Hitch. Honestly, I don't know what this book is about. I just thought the cover was really cute, and I saw it at Half Price Bookstore, so I got it. But yeah, maybe I mean, based on the cover, it does look like it would be some sort of little romance. I think it's cute, so I think I'm gonna keep this, and I definitely think I'm gonna read it. Next up, I have Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. I think this is the second book to the series. I also have the first book somewhere in this pile. Oh, I see it. Yeah, Magnolia Parks. I think it's the second book to Magnolia Parks. I haven't read the series at all. I have both of them in this pile. But yeah, these are just books that I've seen everywhere, and I'm a copycat, so I got them. But yeah, I think I will read these soon. I don't know when I have plans to read these books. I feel like everything is just based on how I'm feeling. It definitely is my mood. If I'm in the mood to read it, I'll read it. If not, then I'm gonna be yeah, I don't want to read this right now, and I'll just put it down. Doesn't mean that I'm DNFing it for good. It just means that I'm not currently in the state of mind to read a particular book. Does anyone else feel that way? Next up I have Alex and Eliza. I just know this book is about the American Revolution. I bought this book like years ago. I want to say like 5 years ago, and I never read it. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to, but yeah. Next up I have The Last Year by Rebecca Yarros. I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but I think it's about a girl that is sick. I think she's writing the letter to her sister because they've already lost like a bunch of family members and she's the only one left. I think she's just writing to her sister to let her know, like, you know, going through something. I don't know. I could be totally off base here. Next up, I have Mary Jane. Don't know what it's about, but I think it would be a good summer read. Next, I have The Paris Connection. Also, I think this is just like a romance story set in Paris. I think it is kind of like a copycat of another book, but I don't remember what book it is. But yeah, I think there's another book that this is really similar to. Next up, I have The X Talk. I saw this a lot on Book Talk and I got it. I think it's about this like radio host and talking about their exes, and then yeah, I don't know too much about it. I feel like if I don't know what a book is about, I don't really want to read it. I just want to read a book and find out. I don't want to read the synopsis. Next up, I have All the Bright Places. I think this is a YA. Cover says it's a story about a boy named Finch and a girl named Violet. I'm assuming it's a little young adult romance and they're gonna end up falling for each other. Honestly, I think this book is really good. Based on what I've heard about it, I just honestly haven't really gotten a chance to read it, or just haven't thought to pick it up off my shelf and read it. So yeah, but hopefully I do soon because I definitely think it is a really cute story. Okay, next up I have Finding 13. I have started this book and I'm still reading it, but I did put it on here just because I've set it down twice now, but not because I was bored, just because it's so long. And I don't know, it's a lengthy book, so it's taking me a while, but I have the first book and then the second book for Boys of Tommen. So I also have Keeping 13, which I haven't read obviously because I want to read this before I read that. But next up I have Second First Impressions. I do remember starting this book and DNFing it because I was just so bored. I do not think that I will ever read this book, but for now it's just sitting on my shelf, so we'll see if I end up actually doing an unhaul book, but an unhaul video. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not super interested in reading this. Next I have Every Summer After. I think this book is very similar to, read it.
The Summer I Turned Pretty?
No. It's like a darker
Love
orange.
in Other Words?
Yes. I think this book is very similar to Love in Other Words, which I read and I did not like. I don't know why, but it just personally, it didn't hit for me. But I know that so many people love that book and I know that it's so many people's favorites, but personally I just did not care for that book. I didn't connect to the characters and I honestly thought it was really dumb the way that they ended up together, but that's just me. Next up I have Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I have a few books by her. I have this one. I also have 9 Perfect Strangers, and then I have Truly Madly Guilty. Yeah, these are all just books. I've just heard she's a good author. Her books are just really lengthy, so that is the reason for me not having read them yet. But I think the day that I'm ready to sit and read a long book, I will definitely pick one of these up. I stopped counting how many books, so I'm just gonna count them at the end, and then we'll see how many books I have. Next, I have I Told You This Would Happen. I thought the cover looked pretty cool, and then when I read the synopsis in Target, I thought it was interesting, but I have yet to actually read it. I think I did end up starting this actually, but I was only like a chapter into it. I think it was actually starting off pretty good, but I just didn't continue on. Next, I have A Touch of Darkness. Honestly, I just bought this book because it was pretty. I did also see it on Book Talk a lot, so there's that. But I think it's a good story. I think this is also kind of like a romance fantasy type of book, so that I think is a good way to help me get into fantasy if it has some romance in it, because I think if it's just focusing on the fantasy of it, then I'm probably not going to be as interested. Next I have We'll Always Have Summer. I did not finish this. I think I just ended up finishing the series and then it made me not really care to read the book, especially because there was different things. When I watched the first season, I was like, I don't really like that this isn't happening the way that it happened in the book. Next up, I have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I honestly really want to read this book, so I need to hurry up and read it. I don't know what's taking me so long, but I definitely want to read this soon. I think it's definitely on my list of just like a freaky like mystery book. So yeah. Next up I have Anna and the French Kiss. I believe this is about a girl in Paris, France, and just yeah, I don't really know. Next up I have Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna end up reading this. We'll see. I don't know. I just haven't read a Colleen Hoover book in so long, so I don't know if her writing style is still really my taste, but it could potentially be something that I would read. I think the cover's cute. Alright, next up I have Beach Read. I don't know. I've tried to read this book I think 2 times and haven't gotten very far either time. This book in specific, like, I don't know what it is. I haven't read a single Emily Henry book. I also have People We Meet on Vacation. Haven't read either of these. I think I've tried to start both of them, haven't finished either. I don't know if it's just her writing style or what it is, but just personally haven't been able to commit to her writing style. Next up I have I'm Glad My Mom Died, which is by Jeanette McCurdy. Yeah, this is definitely something I'm interested in reading. It's just about her life. I'm sure many people have read it. I definitely wanted to know more about her and kind of everything that she went through when she was on Nickelodeon, even before and after. So I think it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep and eventually end up reading. Next up I have Love and Gelato. I just thought the cover of this book was cute, honestly. Next up I have The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I did start this book. My friend told me it's really good, so I definitely do want to pick it back up at some point, but I just ended up getting a little bored of it, so I stopped reading it. Then I have The Spanish Love Deception. I think that this book is similar to another book. I don't know. I think it was The Hating Game that people were saying that this was a good comparison for, and I really liked The Hating Game, so maybe I will like this. I just haven't read it yet because when I got it, it was right after I just read The Hating Game, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to read the same story twice, you know, so I did not end up reading it, but now that it's been a while, maybe I will read it. Next up, I have Funny You Should Ask. I think I did start this book as well. I promise you guys I actually do finish books, but this video is making me look bad, honestly. There's just so many books that I've started and I just can't commit to. Next up, I have 2 Lucy Score books, Things We Never Got Over and Things We Had from the Light. I've never read either of these because they're both very hefty books, but they're definitely very popular, and if I see something that everyone has, I'm like, I want it. Like, I need the book. I have to have it, even if I don't read it, which makes no sense, but you get it. Next up I have The Last Letter from Your Lover. I just saw this at Half Price Bookstore and it sounded like it was a good book, so I got it. I don't really know what it's about. It definitely looks like an older book though, so yeah. I don't know if I'll end up reading this, but it's on the TBR for now. Next up I have The Summer of Broken Rules. This is set in summer, so probably gonna read this a little closer to summer, but yeah, the cover's really cute and I'm sure some summer love story, which I eat up, so I'll definitely read this. Next I have The Family Game. Honestly, I think my boyfriend bought me this book. I don't really recognize it. I think he bought it for me a while ago. The cover looks cool, so I haven't seen this anywhere, but I'll read it since he bought it. Next I have Our Country Friends. I saw this book one time and I bought it. I don't know why. I think I read the synopsis and it sounded good. The cover doesn't look that appeasing, but we'll see. I think the storyline is good, so that's why I did actually get this book. Okay, this video I feel like is gonna be so long, me explaining the reason why behind every single book, so I think from now on I'm just gonna state the book and then just kind of move along here. Next up I have Stay With Me. Have not read this yet. Next up I have Once Upon a Broken Heart. Definitely one book that I saw on Book Talk a lot. And then I have this book called Who Killed These Girls. I think I bought this book like 3 or 4 years ago and it's just kind of been sitting on my shelf collecting dust. I think I read about halfway through it actually, though, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, actually no, not even halfway. I read maybe like 5% into the book. Next up I have Little Bee. My friend actually gave me this book. She said it's one of her favorite books. I haven't read it yet, so yeah. And it was $2 at the thrift store, so that's really cool. And I have The Left-Handed Twin. I got this book with a friend and we're gonna buddy read this book, so that is why I haven't read this book yet. I'm waiting on her. Next up I have 100 Other Girls. I just got this book recently on a trip to Target and I thought the cover was super cute, so I got it and it sounded really good. Actually no, I got this at Barnes & Noble. Yeah, sorry. I got this at a trip to Barnes & Noble and I really liked the colors of the book, so I got it. Next up I have After. I think this was kind of when After was really popular. I've had this book for so long and I think I did read probably like 20% into it, but I just never ended up finishing it. Next up, I have Addicted to You. This is the first book in this series. It just definitely sparked my interest. I just haven't finished this book or really started it, and then I think if I do like it, I'll probably just definitely end up getting more into the series. Next, I have Something from Tiffany's. I really liked the synopsis of this and I thought it was really cute, so I got this book, and yeah, I still get to read that. Then I have a few Ellen Hildebrand books. So I have these two books by Ellen Hildebrand. Again, I think her stories are definitely more set in the summertime, so that's probably when you'll see me pick these books up. Then I have these Violent Delights. I saw this at Half Price Bookstore, so I got it because I know it was definitely something that I saw heavily floating around TikTok and Book Talk a lot, so that's why I got it. So then I have the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I haven't really seen this around. I think I did see this on Book Talk a few times, but I haven't really seen many people read it. It's definitely something I'm interested in reading. Next up, I have Pretty Things. I've had this book for a long time and just haven't gotten into reading it yet, so yeah. Okay guys, that is every single book on my physical TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry if it was a long video. There's just a ton of books that I haven't read yet, unfortunately, but I'm definitely trying to get through a bit more of my TBR and trying to lessen my spending on books, definitely, because I'm definitely doing a lot more spending on books than I am reading. So I want to at least start reading more, and then I feel like that will kind of even everything out, but we'll see. Don't hold me to it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.